Hello everyone. So in last session we have seen how we can create the Gitignore file. So let us now see the use of Gitignore file to avoid committing unwanted files to the Git. Okay, so when we share any project to the GitHub or GitLab, we don't want all the files from that project should be shared on the GitHub or GitLab. Okay, so there can be few files. Let's say there can be some .env files, some configuration files, or some logs file that we don't want to share to everyone. Okay, so once we share the project to the GitHub or GitLab, that will be shared to everyone, and everyone will be able to view all those details available in that files. Okay, so if there are some files containing some sensitive information or username, password related to your .env files for the Docker, so we don't want all those files should be shared to the everyone. Okay, so we need to ignore those files while committing your files from local machine to the GitLab or GitHub. Okay, so for that purpose we need to use the .gitignore file. Okay, so I will show you few examples how we can ignore few folders or files with the help of gitignore. So let us first create the gitignore file. So open this document and I will save it as .gitignore and select all files, click on save. So open the git bash here. So let us check the status. So as of now gitignore file do not contain anything, so it is going to commit or going to consider all the files available in this project, my app. Okay, so let us open the gitignore. So let's say we don't want to share this .env file to everyone, so that should not be committed and pushed to the GitHub. So in the gitignore file simply add the file name .env. Okay, this is the text document as of now, so I will save it. So if we check the status now, you can see that gitignore, as we have added the .env.txt in the gitignore, it is not considering in while committing the files now. So now let's say I don't want to commit this pom.xml file or testng.xml file. So just add the file name here, testng.xml, then pom.xml. Okay, so now if you check the status, they are not in the untracked files list now. Okay, so instead of adding the file names one by one, we know that there are some files with same extension, but it can have different file names. Okay, so different files or multiple files with whatever name but having same extension, we can do it using the regular expression. Okay, so instead of adding these two testng.xml, pom.xml, they are having the same .xml extension. So here what I can do is, here I can add star dot xml. Okay, so files having .xml extension will be ignored now. Okay, okay, this is how it will work. Then let's say I don't want to push this .idea folder, then let's say this videos folder. Okay, we don't want these folders in our GitHub repository, so simply add the folder name here in the gitignore .idea, then videos. So now if we check the git status, they are removed from the untracked file list now. So now let's try to ignore the logs file. So let's say in your project logs file can be available in any folder. Okay, so those can be available in this logs folder, or also I have some logs files in this config folder as well. Okay, so I'm not sure in which folder this logs file can be available. At the runtime these logs will be created and file will be generated, so it can be anywhere in my project. So how we can do that? Here also we can use the regular expression. So here I will give the double star, so it can be in any folder, then give the slash, then this logs folder or logs file name contain this logs. Okay, so every file in the logs file name contains this logs. So this is the app logs, and in the logs config folder this is personal logs. Okay, like that. So I know the logs file will contain the logs name in the file name. So same I can use while creating the regular expression. So it can be in any folder and it can have any name, but it can contain the logs in the file name and give the star here. So any folder and any file in which the file name contains these logs will be ignored by the Git. So now if we check the Git status, okay, so it has ignored the logs folder completely, because if you see in the logs folder, 2 files are having the logs now. Okay, that's why it has ignored the whole logs folder. But in case of config, it contains some user details text file. Okay, so that's why it is showing this config here. So same, you can verify which file it has ignored from this config folder. Just use the git add space dot, and now if you check the status, so from the config folder you can see only user detail.txt file is available to commit to the GitHub. Okay, so it has ignored the personal logs file. Okay, so same, if I want to ignore the mp4 files, so those files can be anywhere, but I know the extension that it can have the .mp4 only. Okay, so again I can use this star star slash and give the star, and here I will use .mp4. Okay, so let me first reset this. Git reset. Okay, so in the git status you can see .gitignore, then config folder, src, target and text1.txt. Okay, so it has ignored this videos folder as well. So I think we have added the videos here, so I will remove this folder from here. Okay, let's check this status. So it is showing the videos folder as well, because I think videos folder contains one text file. Okay, so that also we can again verify using git add space dot, and now check the status. So from the videos folder it has considered only sample.txt file only. So these are the few examples that will be useful to ignore some files regardless of their location. We can ignore those files like this mp4. Those files can be anywhere in your project location or any folder. Then some files can be anywhere or any folder, but those files can have same word in their file name. So this is how we can use it. Okay, so if you want to completely folder, you can just provide the folder name. If you want to ignore some file, then completely provide the file name. Okay, and multiple files with the same extension, you can use this star extension, whatever it can be. Okay, so here we have ignored all the files having xml extension. So that is all for this session, guys. I will see you in the next video soon.